So if you're watching someone from the UiPath, please fix this in the next feature. Hi guys, welcome. As you already know, some of you have seen my post on Facebook and LinkedIn that I have just launched another course which is destined for advanced RPA developer and help you to get the RPA developer advanced diploma. While initially I thought that I'm going to use an online service to extract the winners, well, unfortunately I could not find a way to extract a particular amount of items from an Excel file. So I decided why I should not create this robot. So here we have. So what I have here, it's an empty project which is named random winners, and I don't have anything set, it's just an empty process. So my plan here is, actually I'm going to show you. So at the moment of this recording I have 94 winners, and I want to download this as a CSV. The Google Drive has this functionality, and I have already actually open. Well, you cannot see the username, this one is private. But I'm about to extract from the row, so I have 90 items here. I want to extract a particular amount of winners, but I want to make sure that these are not duplicated. So let's start to do that. So first I'm just gonna take this file, which I have here open. I will actually save it. Great. So I save it here, and the first thing I'd like to read the range. So range with the CSV, so CSV read. Okay, the path, it will be here. So I'm gonna extract, select this file. I'll have the result in a data table. So let's say, well, I should give a name related to customers or winners. So let's say winners, data table. So now I need to generate random numbers. Well, you have a couple of methods how you generate random numbers, and actually I'm gonna make another video how you do that. But for that particular item, I'm gonna choose the simplest one, which is used to system.random. So first I need to create a generator. Now a generator, I'm gonna create a variable here. Okay, so I have already a variable here because I have started before. So I need to have another variable here. So let's name this generator. This will be of type browse for type. I'm gonna choose here random. I'm gonna say random. Okay, this one is for system and random, and I need to initialize. So I'm gonna say new random. And then, depending on the amount that I have the items, I need to generate a particular amount of items. And something which I need to keep in mind, I don't want to generate twice the same number. So I can either having a list with the numbers which can be indexes, or the amount at the actual data table. Because what I'll do, I have the big data table and I want to go for each particular item and make sure that I didn't generate an item twice. So I have two options. I can either have a list of integer, which will represent the index in the data table, or a list of data tables. Now in this case, I'm just gonna go simpler. So I will have a list of integer will represent the indexes in the data table that I have already generated. So I need to make sure that I didn't generate it twice. So I have here winners, and that's a list. Okay, I'm gonna search from one system generic.list, which is this one, and to here I'm gonna say int 32. Click OK, and I need to initialize this list with an empty list. So I have this new list of integer. Okay, so now it comes the part when I need to generate the actual winners. Now the prerequisite which I need to have is a winner doesn't need to be twice in the list. So for that, I don't know if I'm gonna generate 10 or 20 attempts, because maybe I'm gonna generate the number let's say 1, twice. Okay, so what I'll do, because I don't know the amount of steps, so I cannot make a for each, for instance, a for each row. I don't know how many times I need to generate in order to check if it's already here in this list. I need to do something with a while do. So this is exactly what I'm going to do. Now I will choose do while instead of while do, just because it's my preference of choice. So I'm gonna say it while, and let's say do while. Let's say the condition, so I like to stop the while until the winners dot count. It will be, I don't know, 20 or 30. This is the amount of items that I want to get from the data table. Now this is a prerequisite that the winners, they need to be smaller than the winners data table. So this is something which I need to keep in mind before. I'm gonna say winners that count is less, let's say 20 winners, okay, for this time. Actually, let's pick it 10. Okay, so what I'll do here, I need to check if I have an item which is already there, then I'm gonna generate another one. Otherwise, I will just keep to add in the list. So here in the body, I want to add a small variable. So let's say the generated number. I can use the default variable, the default scope, because it's here in the body, or I can use an assign. Now I prefer to use this default rather than have assign. This is just my preference as choice. Maybe you don't like this approach. So generate number, I don't want to be a string, I want to be an integer. And the value of this, it will be generator dot next, and this will return a number from 0 to the max value, as you can see here. Now, in my case, the list, actually I'm looking to the data table. So in the data table, the first position is 0. So data table dot 0, it's a data row, which I'm interested in. So I'm not gonna, I don't want to have the numbers generated from 1. I'll still keep 2 numbers to add from 0. And the only thing I'm interested is just the max number. So as you can see, we have here the min value and the max number. Now I'm gonna keep to use this overload, which involves just the max number. If you want to read more, have a look in the documentation. I know this by heart because I have used it in the past. So the max number will be the number in the data row. So I'm gonna say winners data table dot rows dot count. Okay, so this will return an integer. Now I have this in the body, the generated number. Actually, let's change this variable, let's delete. And now I need to put an if in the list there is this winner, then I'm not interested to do anything because the condition, it will stop. So I'm interested just to check the case. If the number doesn't exist, I'm gonna add. So let's make an if. How do you check an item in the list? Well, you have the contains function on the list. So let's say winners, this is a list of integer, contains, and the number which I'm interested is the generate number. Actually, let's name this appropriate, so generated, or random number, generated number, because it's already in the past. So if the winners contains, I'm not interested to do anything, but I'm interested to do if not contains. So I'm gonna put a not. If the contains does not exist here, I'll use an append. So I'm gonna add an activities, let's say append to collection. There should be some activity add to collection, which I'm gonna say here. The collection is winners, and the item is generated number, and the type argument is not object, it's an integer. This is the type argument that needs to match generated number to match with the type argument from here. So click save. Okay, now I can rename this do while, let's say generate x numbers. And the next step would be to write a range. Because now I know that I have x amount of items, I'm actually the numbers of the items that are in the list, I know that I can use a for each. So I can use, for instance, a for each from 1 to the amount of numbers that I have in the winners collection, and I need to create another data table which will represent the subset, and then write a range in Excel file. So this is exactly what I'm about to do here. Okay, so now I need to create another data table with the actual winners. Now I see a conflict here. If I would use this name would be definitely a conflict. So these are not the winners data table, but these are the potential winners. So I'm gonna do a rename here, potential winners, and let's give a rename. Let's create another variable. Let's say winners. Actually, before that, there is a conflict here in the name. So let's change this. Okay, so these are potential. This is still a bug in the UiPath Studio. It doesn't replace all the usages of the variables. So if you're watching someone from the UiPath, please fix this as in the next feature. Go in the main. Okay, going back to our sequence, we have the potential winners. Let's generate the winners. So now let's say winners data table. This is a data table again. I'm not gonna initialize this, so I'm gonna use append row. Okay, let's have a look at the data table. So I'm gonna use add data row, but I'm gonna use the add data row in a for each loop. So for each item in the winners. Now this is not an item, it's an index. So I'm gonna rename this for each index in winners. So I'm gonna add the data row in the data table, which will be named winners. Now I cannot use an existing data row from this data row from the source, because the data row can only persist in one single data table. So I'm gonna need to use the array row. However, if you are using array row, we need to build an actual data table. So we need to have something which is valid. So for that, I'm gonna use build data table. I'm gonna make sure that the winners data table, it will be valid. So this is the winners data table, and depends on the item which we are interested. So if I'm having a look to the existing structure, it has a timestamp, a username, and the name and profile rel. So let's keep the same structure. So now this is build value type string. Timestamp, this is an integer, this is a string. Let's say and I'll build the name, and hit OK. Now going back to our data table, we have kept the order. So I'm just gonna go to grab the existing data row, which is at the position index. Now how I do that, I'm gonna go here in the body, and I need to declare a variable of type data row. So let's say the data row, this has a scope body, and the data row, it's at the position index, and I'm gonna have a look to the potential winners. I'm gonna open a parenthesis, rows. I'm gonna open a parenthesis and say the index. Okay, so I'm going back to here to the add data row, and because I have kept the same order, I can just grab the existing data row and add it here. So I'm gonna say data row. Okay, this data row is of type string, so here we have a bug. It needs to be of type data row. And there's still a warning related to object to integer. So in the for each, I have here a list of integer, and I need to convert the integer to be an index, not an object. I'm going here to change this to integer, and now it should work. I have here the data row. The index is of type integer, so this is a valid selection, the data row. So going back to our problem, we have the add data row. Now I'm gonna use the item array. And by the way, I can use this item array because I didn't change the order. If I would select only 2 items in the target, I need to specify the position individually. So I need to create a new object, and I need to take individually the position 0 and the position 1. So save, and everything I need to do is have a right range. So let's write range. Okay, and now before to run, I want to make sure that I have only selected to have 10 winners. Now I don't think I'm gonna just leave to 10 because you have been a bunch of submitted this. So run the current file. Okay, hit a refresh and open the winners. Okay, and I have on the other screen, I'm gonna put it here. Okay, so what I can see, I don't have the column headers, but there are here 10 items. So my robot works. Great. So the link of this robot, I'm just gonna put it on my account. I'm gonna leave a link here in the description, and I hope you have enjoyed. Now I'm gonna make another video how you generate random numbers. This is actually not the best way to generate random numbers. It has some pitfalls. Now doesn't mean that this extraction is not correct. It's actually correct. But the fact it's this random, it's not so randomness, it can be predicted somehow. But this is another story for another video. Now I'm gonna leave a link here with the code that you have here in the robot if you want to inspect or if you have a look. And let's have a look to the next video where I'm actually doing the extraction of the winners. So I hope you have enjoyed. See you next time. Bye.